Life can be hard, and we've all faced those moments that seem to stop us dead in our tracks. But what if those moments of difficulty, the bad news, could actually be a springboard for something greater? I'm Cam Garvin, and each week I'll bring you stories of extraordinary resilience and conversations about lives and ideas that are productive. This is the Productive Lives Podcast. On this episode, we continue our conversation with Dr. Jim Ayers. Today, we dive into his unique approach to teaching, moving beyond seminary notes to real-world case study Fridays, and how a semester at Oxford changed his perspective on education. So you were at Karen with us, or PCB, and then you go to writer for a master's, and tell me how the role shifted to, and like you said, it's just different audiences, same ministry of multiplication, if you want to call it, to academic, and then back to Lancaster, and man, we lost you, man. It sounded like a wonderful career. So how did that kind of shift in your mind, or opportunities maybe? I don't know.
I was not the typical student just coming into Bible college. I had been in law enforcement a couple of years. I had blue-collar jobs. I was involved at the time in sales at a company and moving up the fast track, and just came to the conclusion that that was just a job, but what I really loved doing was ministry. And that was part of the journey that God had to prepare me for Bible college. So I was in my early 20s, mid-20s when I went to Bible college. So I was still working at the church. They put me on staff in a part-time capacity, so I had responsibilities there.
Wow.
But I chose after I finished at LBC that I knew that I wanted to pursue a ministry path, and that's when Don had approached me about the opportunity to come to PCB. While I was at PCB, I went to Rider College. Now, the reason I chose Rider, I felt really good about my background in terms of experiences and just a basic knowledge, knowledge of the Bible. Was a good Bible preaching church. And I really didn't feel that I wanted to do the traditional seminary track, because I don't know how you feel about this, and this, you can edit this out, but I was convinced that a lot of guys who teach in Bible college are teaching their seminary notes. Yes. And I thought, I can't afford thousands of dollars. Number one, I couldn't transport my family to another location. Those were different days. Yep. You didn't have all the online options and satellite campuses and things like that are available now. And so I thought, well, where is my giftedness? And I felt that I wanted to do some development in the area of leadership and counseling, because I knew that those were going to be vital pieces in any kind of ministry role that I had that correlated with my giftedness. And so I went to Rider College and I did a graduate degree in counseling services, which covered a broad spectrum of things. Yeah. But the thing that I loved about it was a secular environment. Yeah. And so every class that I went to, I was being forced to rethink, how does this compare to my Bible knowledge and the things that I know to be truth from the Word of God? Yeah. And it allowed me incredible opportunities to interact with students and even with professors during the time that I was teaching at PCB. Yeah. And so finished that degree, and then years after, when I went to the church, I told them I would like to continue to pursue my education, and did a Ph.D. program, one of the first institutions that was trying to do something that was not normally accepted by a lot of the accrediting agencies. They had residencies, but you would do a lot of work independently. Then you would come to a residency. One of those residencies, I got to do a semester at Oxford University.
Ah, oh, that'd be
And
cool.
that was transformational for me as well,
Sure.
because the British model of education was really more my cup of tea, so to
Yeah.
speak. The reading, the writing, the research, the independent thinking just really served me well.
Excellent.
And I loved that. Came back to the church, finished my PhD, and then a year later ended up at Lancaster Bible College and had the conversations there that I wanted to do things in the classroom differently than
Hmm.
I had done as a student,
Yeah.
and had the full blessing of the academic community there to experiment with some things. And I developed what we called contract courses, character development contracts, which students did every semester, because I had already understood that developing character is a lifelong process. And it is one of the things that most quickly and most assuredly knocks people out of ministry and disqualifies them sometimes completely for
Yeah.
ministry. We used, by that point in time, I had lots of illustrations of things that I had done. So we had case study Fridays where the entire class was, I would present a real life case study and then ask the students, okay, you are the leader, you are the pastor, and gave them an outlines of, okay, what do you do? This is the situation. What steps do you take? And so it was really fun to bring some of that creativity into the classroom and experiment, and continued a lot of those things for the duration of the time that I was at LBC. So
I love that.
yeah, retired from there in 20, taught a little bit, a couple of online courses after that, but determined that that really was not my love. I'm just an in person kind of guy. But one of the things that I did love during that time were the travel learn
Yeah.
experiences, the academic study tours to the Middle East, which we developed and cultivated. And now that I'm fully retired, I'm doing that for independent groups who would like to go
I don't
to
know
the
if you're
lands of the
retired.
Bible.
I don't know if you're retired. Joe Darrell, who you know, a friend of ours who's
Yeah,
a board member, he says he's going to refire. And I said, I like that. It's just you're
yeah,
not at LBC, you're not an academic, but you're just doing
yeah,
something. You're still doing great ministry, and
yeah,
maybe it's your schedule, which is probably cool. It's like this
yeah,
is what I want to do when I want to do it. I love just going back and Productive Lives. We're doing a Converge, a gap year program, and I'm with you. I love the
mm,
experiential.
hmm,
So you want to talk about a sin or poverty? Walk out the door in Kensington, and then we'll discuss it. We'll look at the Bible. We'll read some things. You get
yeah,
credit for it. I think Jim,
yeah,
we both. I love my education, but I'm with you. I'm like, and
yeah,
nowadays people are like, go to school somewhere.
yeah, yeah. That's right.
Can I
Yeah,
if and then if it was online 30 years ago, I probably would have done the same thing. And
yeah,
I love the case study. I'm going to take that. And actually, I was looking at your website today. Church Works is right,
yes.
and you
Hmm.
have the character development stuff there.
Yes, I do. Yeah,
And
it's
I
downloadable on there for anyone. And I recrafted it. That's not the one that I used with students. It's a
sure,
it's a version that is more church friendly for adults and any other kind of discipleship or mentoring kinds of relationships or accountability groups,
I love that.
all kinds of things. Yeah.
This is you and I know, and we're not above this, but a lot of our friends or colleagues have had character issues and takes them out
Mm.
for a while or takes them out
Yes.
permanently, like you said. And I
Yeah.
want to finish well. I think you want to finish well.
Yeah.
And Lord help us to do that. Thank you.
Amen.
That I like that. I really do. The experiential learning
Yeah.
ministry, not throwing you in the water
Yeah.
without a life preserver, but
Head, hands, and heart.
love it.
I know that may be overworked,
Nope.
but really, it's the intellect, the emotion, and the will put into practice.
Yeah.
Head, hands, and heart. And so, if we're missing one of those, then I don't think we are really setting the stage for the kind of transformation and spiritual growth that will take us through life.
I think you're right. And I think our backgrounds, a lot of heady stuff, academic.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the heart, and you can't do something with it. What we're trying to do in productive life, trying to, yeah, like we said, you could meet the necessities of life. But and you were
Yeah.
in Kensington for a while, weren't you? Did you have some ministry? I remember way
Yeah.
back when.
Yes. And thanks to Bill Curry,
Yes.
because we served in the Christian Service Department
Yep.
together.
Yep.
And Bill, at that point in time, I'm trying to remember what he called them initially,
Yes.
dimension clubs.
I went to one of.
And
I was involved
yeah,
with that. Yes.
and
Yes.
I went down with him frequently to
Yep.
Kensington to the
Yep.
clubs, and that's when Joe Darrow was a student at PCB. I met him, and he was working with Bill.
Yep.
Spoke at a couple of the Dimension retreats that Bill had, which were wild because these were all kids. I don't have
Yep.
to tell you, these
Yep.
were all Kensington kids.
Yep.
And, when you take them to a place like Camp of the Woods or a nice camp, there were always exciting things to deal with, but yet it was the opportunity to get them out of their environment and to try to challenge them spiritually. So,
I know you had the connect, and I know we went to see you at Cornerstone, and actually Joe, Daryl, Andy are on our board. Bill, we see every week, and we partner with Cornerstone tremendously. But you're right,
yeah.
the Kensington kids. Joe said one time you guys took them camping or someplace like Camp of the Woods, and
Yes.
they thought the deer would eat them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was too quiet. There wasn't fire engines, people screaming, and
That's right.
the crickets,
They were
it was.
they were not used to silence and solitude for sure.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But I love that connection. From the quiet libraries of Oxford to the noisy streets of Kensington, Jim has always looked for the living color in the Word of God. Join us next week for the final episode with Jim as he heads to the Holy Land. Thank you for listening to the Productive Lives podcast. You can expect new episodes every Monday, and if you like the show, please subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. This helps others like you find the show. The Productive Lives podcast is supported by Productive Lives, where our mission is people serving people, and our vision is to motivate people to improve their lives and the lives of others through servant living and leadership. If you want to live a productive life and help improve the lives of others, visit our website for more information, productivelives.org. The Productive Lives podcast is produced by Studio D Podcast Production and hosted by me, Cam Garvin. I'll see you next week for more stories of resilience and conversations about lives and ideas that are productive.